Welcome back to Thompson's Coins, where today we're taking a look at what came through the shop this week. This week we're taking a look at some of the new releases from Agoro. So for anyone that's unfamiliar, they do a lot of really interesting licensed collectibles. So we'll start off with the 1 ounce silver Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. They do these in a really cool presentation format, being long and rectangular. So it's kind of a nice departure in terms of conventional coins. And what I believe they're going for is a bit more of the collectible avenue. So people that are interested in all sorts of pop culture memorabilia, items like these make for a really beautiful display piece. And as a result, it also makes my front window look a bit spiffy. So if you have any interest in Looney Tunes, that's just arrived. We also have a new Disney release. This is one of the Lilo and Stitch coins. And they present so well. It opens up like a little book and you've got some additional artwork there. And I've got to be honest, this weekend just gone, I had my niece and nephew over and we watched the new live action Lilo and Stitch. I've got to be honest, if you have the option, just watch the original, which is nice to see that it's the original animated version being represented on the coin here. But that's just one person's opinion. Maybe some people love the live action version. I don't know, let me know in the comments what you think. Moving on, we have this is really cool. This is the genie from Aladdin, 1 ounce silver. And once again, if you open it up, you've got all sorts of emotions from the genie there. I don't know whether or not this is true, maybe someone can clarify, but supposedly Robin Williams was not actually eligible for any type of formal awards for his work on this film because so many of his lines were actually improvised. So they didn't have a script. He just went into the sound booth and did what he would do best and improvised all sorts of characters. The mintage on this one is 1000, as is the Looney Tunes. On the Lilo and Stitch, it looks like the total mintage is 626. I'm not sure if that has some sort of significance to the film. Actually, 626. I'm pretty sure that's the number of Stitch, the experiment. It's experiment 626. There you go. That is very timely that I have just watched that on the weekend. So I get the reference. Very, very clever. Then we have a Winnie the Pooh for the Love of Honey. And this, I've got to say, the color is incredibly vibrant, particularly on his red shirt. I think they seem to have cracked some sort of code in terms of transferring a vibrant color onto the silver planchet. And a lot of these look really, really great in person when you see them. And I think for anyone that has any sort of special connection to Winnie the Pooh, something like this is really nice. And on the back there it's got a little quote that says, "The only reason for being a bee is to make honey, and the only reason for making honey is so I can eat it." So some words of wisdom from Winnie the Pooh there. And again, there's only a mintage of 1000 on the Winnie the Pooh as well. Then we have some really cool, I'll be honest, I've never played Dungeons and Dragons. This is something I feel like I missed out on in life. So many people that have an interest in it are incredibly passionate about it. But I get to enjoy it from afar in the sense that Agoro are producing these really impressive, large 1 ounce silver foils. And you'll see what I mean in terms of a really cool and interesting presentation piece. So this is one of the Dungeon Master's guides. I don't actually know who this character is. If I have any Dungeon Masters in the comments, you can let me know who that is. But the artistry is really, really cool, and having such a large planchet to work with, it's almost like a small poster. It's a bit smaller than an A4 size, but it is 1 ounce of pure silver, just in a really, really thin format. So for any D&D enthusiasts, we have those now that once again make for a really nice display. Taking a right angle turn because it's what I like to do. I also have one of the 1956 Melbourne Olympic Games medals. Now I was fascinated to learn, not only was this also done by Andor Mazaros, the gentleman responsible for the iconic 1967 Swan Dollar. Whilst researching this particular medal, it seems to be that this received widespread public approval in terms of a representation of Melbourne and the Olympic Games on a world stage. So it was a really well received medal, and it seems to be something that sort of set the tone for Andor's presence in terms of medal production. Just over 12,000 of these medals were produced. They're referred to as a participation medal. So they were not only given to athletes, they were also given to officials and trainers of athletes. So while they may not be as scarce as a gold medal awarded to an athlete, it is something that is still incredibly collectible and highly sought after for medal collectors. And it has a lovely depiction of the Melbourne coat of arms there, as well as the Olympic rings with a kangaroo in the center. And I've got to say, in terms of composition, I think this medal really hit the mark in terms of just something that is immediately recognizable and distinctly Australian as well. So when you consider the Olympic Games being that global stage, I think a medal like this really hit the mark, and it's nice to know that it was widely accepted by the public as well. Flipping over, I think this side isn't nearly as exciting. You have a procession of athletes as well as a flag bearer holding the flag with the Olympic rings there. I think this could have been a little bit more exciting. It would have been nice to see perhaps closer to the 50-cent piece that was done by the Royal Australian Mint, which has different images of athletes in different poses and things like that. You have gymnasts in all sorts of acrobatic maneuvers and things like that, and you can clearly tell that they're athletes. I guess the fact that this is on an Olympic themed medal makes it clear that they're supposed to be athletes, but other than that, it doesn't really scream athletics or anything like that, in my opinion. Finally, we have the new 5-ounce Luna release, which is the 12 Luna baby animals. So we've seen all of the different animals that are part of the Luna cycle. There are 12 different animals. The Perth Mint also do them in a 1/2-ounce baby format, which is why I suppose this has now come to the front of mind in terms of a new 5-ounce release. We have each of the Luna animals there depicted in baby format. So there's only 388 of these that have been produced, and I think this is the type of thing that's sure to be very popular with collectors. You've also got the little yin-yang there in the center of the coin. So there you go, that's just a little bit of a cross-section as to some of the things that have come through the shop this week. It's been absolutely fascinating. It's always nice to see what's coming out of Agoro, the Perth Mint, and this medal that we took a look at from the 1956 Melbourne Olympic Games is one of many fascinating and historically significant medals that came through the shop this week. I might highlight a few others in videos down the track. There is just so much. I could probably do a 1 or 2 hour video just on some of these historical medals with fascinating backstories, but I just wanted to take the opportunity to highlight one, just to give you a little bit of an example of some of the unusual things that come through the shop, and they're absolutely fascinating to see, and I really enjoy getting to highlight them in these videos. If you enjoy collecting, the greatest hobby in the world, you can come on down and visit us here. We're at Shop 8 in the Boronia Mall, which is located at 50 Dorset Square in Boronia. We're open from Tuesday to Friday, 10 till 4, and we're also here on Saturdays from 10 till 3. Let me know in the comments which item you most enjoyed in this video today. Also, let me know what you think of these Agoro items. They're starting to grow on me, and I really do enjoy the nice presentation format, that sort of book style format. I've got to say, I think the Winnie the Pooh is my pick of the bunch. Maybe also because it pulls on my heartstrings from when I was a little kid. Winnie the Pooh was actually one of my favorites. And I also absolutely appreciate that for many people, they will not enjoy this type of thing and prefer just to stick to the tried and tested conventional coins. So don't panic, there'll still be plenty of those to look forward to in future videos. Alrighty, that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.